In the 21st century, social media is a crucial part of any successful public history endeavor. It can give a project visibility and attract visitors to sites that they may otherwise overlook or just not know that they even exist. When we think of social media, we tend to think of the obvious formats like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But social media is really so much more. It encompasses other formats like blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, and as many other forms of promotion in the digital domain that the imagination can devise. The importance of the traditional means of social media communication should not be overlooked, but by utilizing the more comprehensive forums, such as blogs, podcasts, and videos, a public history project can reach a greater number of people at practically no cost, if it's done right, which is important for those efforts that struggle with funding. And let's be honest, most projects struggle with funding. Public history projects need promotion. Traditionally, these have come as conference presentations, special programs, or personal networking. These are important, but social media has the potential to reach a global audience, drawing far more attention than any traditional promotional method. The use of social media as a means of promotion provides encouragement for individuals to visit historic sites, archives, and exhibits, since they feel connected to the project in a tangible way. For those sites that are employing archaeology for historic preservation, it's exciting to be there when something is discovered or extracted from the ground. To borrow a phrase from Broadway, they want to be in the room where it happens. For those projects that don't have a physical site to visit and thus no foot traffic, a strong social media presence is crucial. The information superhighway is already congested and becoming more so by the day. In order to attract attention, there needs to be some kind of visual presence in the virtual world that builds interest. This attention can help secure funding that every project so desperately needs. One key thing to consider is the very definition of history. It is at its heart storytelling, which is a tradition as old as time. The first histories were oral histories. This is foundational to a promotional campaign for public history projects. People engage with stories, and they will create connections that can be of benefit to all concerned. Strategy is the key to doing social media well. It requires time and resources. Images, text, video, it all needs someone to produce it. So it's imperative that the delivery be deliberate and well planned. As with any endeavor, start with why. What's the purpose for the campaign? How does it fit with the larger project? Who is the target audience? Once these are answered, which may take some discussion, there are other things to think about. What forums will be utilized? What will be the posting schedule? Who will be responsible for the posts? These process concerns must be addressed in order to maintain the vision and to ensure coherency and consistency in the social media campaigns undertaken by the project. Focused social media campaigns are generally more successful. To begin, these can be small, that center on one aspect of the project until any issues or concerns with utilizing social media are worked out. This will help build and maintain momentum, which is difficult. Themed campaigns that link to current issues, anniversaries of important historical events, and calendar observations, such as Black History Month or Women's History Month, are generally good places to start. Posts should be scheduled in advance, and there should be a plan for when things will be released. All content should be prepared well ahead of time and proofread and edited several times to avoid error. There's nothing worse than a scholarly project that posts social media content with misspellings or formatting errors. This is not the forum to rush to a deadline. Some of the most successful social media promotion campaigns combine forums to draw interest and engage the public. They use blogs, podcasts, and YouTube videos as the meat of their campaign, but they draw interest with teasers posted on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. One thing that cannot go unsaid here is the role of the social media manager in a public history project. Those who work on this aspect of the venture must be well trained, and social media should be at least one person's primary, not secondary, responsibility. This can be accomplished in a number of ways, but the success of a project can hinge on this fact. One of the biggest trends in social media lately is the use of podcasts. They're less formal and engaging, just as videos can be, and they're more accessible to a wider audience. The benefit is that they require less technology to produce and elicit fewer concerns regarding location and appearance. I keep hearing someone say, "You have a nice face for radio." Podcasts are also more accessible. People listen to them on the go, commuting, in the gym, while waiting in line, while working. Gives the mind's eye some exercise in a way that the printed text or even a video can't. Podcasts, and videos for that matter, don't have to be a monologue or one-on-one interviews. They can be group discussions or a series of clips that fit together. These take more time in both the planning and editing stages, but can be far more engaging. Think about how much more interesting a roundtable discussion at a conference is than those traditional paper presentations. When it comes to content, it's important not to shy away from the tough topics. These are opportunities to be a voice and to allow discourse in a place that can attract multiple points of view. In addition, don't overlook what can seem unimportant. People connect to the ordinary things in history. That glimpse into the lives of the people of the past can bring clarity and nuance to bigger and more complicated issues and events in the present. There are technical aspects to consider when running a social media campaign. These are not as involved for simple Facebook and Twitter forums, but if the efforts are going to branch into any venues that require media, images, sound, or videos, some resources and additional planning will need to be involved. Some basic equipment is needed. It doesn't need to be expensive, but the quality of the image you have will speak for the project you're promoting. Something to keep in mind for any of these topics. If the promotions are going to turn toward audio and video, the concerns are a little more involved. Where will you record? Can you set up a makeshift recording studio, or will you require something more? Will you need to do some recording in the field? Who will do the recording, mixing, and sound editing? Do you have access to or need specific software to record or edit? These questions will need to be answered. So, what does this all mean for students who want to work in the public history field? It means there are opportunities out there that haven't been explored yet. Of course, it also means there is work to do outside of the training you receive in a classroom. If this is something of interest, here are some ways you can get involved and gain some valuable experience. Volunteer, especially with small projects that don't have access to funding to help with social media. Suggest a small project to highlight some aspect of what they're doing and offer to help in any way you can. You won't always be greeted with immediate acceptance, but you don't know until you ask. Ask about internships. Many organizations don't even think about making themselves available for visiting interns. You might be a first. If so, make a suggestion regarding how they can start a social media presence and work with the organization to think about what that would mean for them. It would go a long way if you offer to stay on as a volunteer on a more permanent basis when you're finished, or at least until they can find another intern, which you can offer to train. This is an added bonus of providing you with some leadership skills to put on your CV. Educate yourself. Find out what the trends are in social media and stay current. Do research to learn how to do social media well and make connections with people at organizations who have run successful social media campaigns for public history projects. They will be an invaluable source of knowledge for you. Start a small project of your own that you can use as an example of your work when you apply for an internship or offer to volunteer, or even when you're looking for a job. Most employers will take these skills seriously. Social media should be a primary tool in every public history project's promotional toolbox. It increases exposure, makes connections to the public the project is trying to reach, and helps attract visitors and additional forms of funding. There are some current concerns that should be addressed, but these are relatively easy to overcome with some creativity and intentionality. One thing a budding public historian should not do is wait for the training on these digital formats to come in the classroom. Self-education is necessary and shows a prospective employer that you take the public part of public history seriously. It takes time and focus, but social media is key to successful projects in the 21st century.